Hi guys, I'm Rushil. I'm a part of the academics team at Zell Education. We made a video for all of y'all where I basically talked about my exam day journey and what actually happens on an exam day. And we noticed that some of y'all have left some comments to which y'all are seeking answers. So we've come back with a part 2 of this video where we're gonna give you answers hopefully to the questions that y'all have asked. So let me start with the very first question that we received. The student is asking that they want to write their part 1 examination in the month of January 2024. So should they, sort of book their exam from now, or should they register 1 month prior to the exam date? So what I would recommend that you do is that you register with the IMA body. If you're a student, if you fall within the student category, your registration will be valid for a period of 3 years. If you're a professional member, your registration will be valid for 1 year. In any case, the time from now until 1 year is more than enough for you to clear your US CMA. So my recommendation to you would be, first of all, try writing your exam as early as you possibly can. See if you can bring it forward from January and February to September and October of this year rather than writing it next year. Secondly, if you're hell-bent on writing it in the month of January, February 2024, I would recommend that you register with the IMA right away. You start your coaching and then you appear for your exam in January or February of 24. Which leads me now on to the second question that you guys asked. How was the exam? Was it easy, medium, or difficult? So to answer this question, first of all, it is a very subjective question because the questions that I got in my exam when I wrote my CMA Part 2 might be very different from what you get in your examination, right? So first of all, it is a very subjective question. Secondly, based on the info that I've just given you, right, my questions might be different from yours. You might be asking, how is that fair? I might have, gotten easy questions, but you might get difficult questions. So what they do at the end of the exam when it comes to grading is that they put every single candidate score on a scale basically, and they score it out of 500. This basically helps them ensure that every candidate is graded fairly, even if their exam was more difficult, more easy, whatever it might be, and it is graded very, very fairly. Now, in terms of exactly how they do the grading, this is information the CMA body or the IMA does not really release to the students, so I cannot comment any further. But in terms of how did I find the exam, well, I have done a separate video on how to tackle the questions, but I can answer it in this way. So there's 100 MCQs in the exam, right? And I can split them into 50, 30, and 20. First 50 questions, or rather 50 questions in the paper, they could be anywhere, not necessarily in a chronological order. But 50 questions on average are easy questions. If you've prepared well for the exam, you should be able to get these 50 questions correct. The next 30 questions are a little more challenging. So, you need to know your concepts well enough to answer them. So, that's the next 30. They're moderate in difficulty. And the final 20 questions will be challenging. There's no guarantee whether you'll get these 20 right or wrong. But if you focus on your first 80, you are good to go in terms of passing the exam. Obviously, answering just 50 of them correctly will allow you to write your essay-based questions, but you need to realistically aim at getting 75 to 80 questions correct in the examination, in the MCQ section. The next question is along the lines of, how do you get into MNCs and how do you avail different job opportunities after your US CMA? So there's a few ways of doing this. The very first way to get this done is through networking. Now Pratham has made a few videos on networking on this channel. So if you've not checked them out yet, I would recommend that you do. The very first option is networking through websites like LinkedIn and other such professional job board websites. The second way to get jobs is obviously, or the IMA body has tie-ups with certain companies across the world where they help place students. So on the IMA website, navigate to the job section or the other association section, and you will see a list of companies that hire for US CMAs. Finally, obviously, institutes like Zell, if you enroll with us for the training, we will obviously help you get you placed in one of these companies at the end of the course. Once you've done both your papers, we will provide you with opportunities to go and interview with some of these companies, and that will also help you secure a job. Next question is all about how do you solve MCQs based on my experience in the exam. So guys, what I did in my exam was, like I talked about earlier, I actually used the 50, 30, 20 split in my exam. So what I did is, the minute my exam started, I looked at question 1 and I realized that question 1 will take up at least 3 to 4 minutes of my time. It's not a question where I can, calculate very, very quickly. So I moved on to question 2. Now question 2 in my paper was a theory question. So I answered it, I moved on to question 3. In this way, what I want you all to do in your actual examination, and it's very effective, is that you scroll through the questions, you answer the ones that are either very easy, that are either theory, or that require very minimal calculations first. Try not using your calculator for the first few questions. Answer the ones that require no calculation whatsoever. This will, one, calm your nerves down if you're nervous about the exam. Two, this will help boost your confidence. By answering a few questions correct, obviously it gets you in the rhythm to answer the questions in a certain flow, and this will do that for you. So, to solve the MCQs, start with easy, start with theory, start with questions that require no calculation. You can scroll through the 100 questions and you can come back to certain questions. Another thing you need to do in the exam. So guys, obviously, when you finish your 100 MCQs, in the exam, you do not have enough time to check each and every answer again. So to counter this, there's an option to flag certain questions. So when you click on that icon, there's a small flag that appears next to the question number. So what you can do is the questions that you're unsure about, whether you've answered them correctly or you would, like to calculate it once again towards the end of your exam, you can flag those questions, and at the end, when you have like the last 15 minutes left of the MCQ section, come back and check these questions twice. And finally, I would recommend, just as an additional tip, be very, very good with your theory. Sort of theory is what I would say are your guaranteed marks in the exam. You cannot go wrong with your theory. While you might falter with your calculations because of certain adjustments or because of certain complexities in the question, you absolutely cannot falter with the theory. The maximum that the exam will do in regards to the theory is that they will twist it and turn it, or they will require you to fuse two concepts together, which is fine. If you've studied your book well enough, you should be able to score full on theory. Which brings me to the final question for this video. What do US CMAs practice as when they are done with the course? So this was the final question that I want to answer in this video. So the US CMAs work in a plethora of different job profiles, not just in India but across the world. So some of the most popular roles that they work in are that of financial analyst, that of a business analyst, that of a management consultant. People work in the CFO advisory. People work in various other core finance related fields, which don't require you to be a CFA. So these are just some of the roles. But given your expertise in part 1 and part 2, you'll be a great fit for some of these roles. Guys, with that, I hope I've answered every single question that you all might have had with respect to my previous video. I hope you all have found this helpful. If you all have, please make sure that you all like this video, you all subscribe to the channel, and you all press on the bell icon. That will keep you up to date with any new videos that we upload. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.